Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Hamilton Reed, and I am with Michigan Rehabilitation Services in the Wayne office. Today, we have Zaman International with us to talk about their culinary and industrial sewing apprenticeships. Before we get to the presentation, I want to introduce a couple of people that are going to be here just for questions, and then also our presenter. So Gigi Slaka is the Chief Workforce Officer within Zaman International. She will be presenting today about Zaman overall, but as well as the two apprenticeship opportunities that they have. We also have Raina, who is not with us today, but she will be the point of contact for these programs, and her contact information will be at the end of the presentation. Myself, again, Brittany Hamilton Reed, and then we have Keisha Hall-Dilligard, a business relation consultant within the Business Network Division here in MRS. And she is here because she has an established relationship with Zaman, myself as well, and she can answer any specific questions on that business end, or anything in depth that I can't cover as well. So she'll be here for that assistance. Anything you'd like to say, Keisha, right now?
No, thank you.
Okay. Before we get started with the presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. Please exercise patience given technology. We know that things happen and it's beyond our control. So just practice a little bit of patience. And if there are questions or concerns, or any that you run into any issues, feel free to reach out via the Q&A box. So put in any comments or questions there, and we will follow up as best we can. Additionally, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have questions or comments as the presentation is going, please utilize that Q&A box to place any questions or comments there, and we will respond to those at the end of the presentation. We do have live captioning and ASL available. They should be pinned. So you should see the ASL in the corner somewhere for you all to utilize that. And then the captioning, you may need to enable, but it should be on your screen as of right now. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, place that into the Q&A box. Lastly, this presentation is being recorded, and it will be shared with MRS counselors following the event. So any customers or outside folks outside of MRS, get in contact with an MRS counselor and they will be able to provide that information to you. Okay. So without further ado, I will let Gigi take over.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Brittany and Keisha, for giving us the opportunity to speak about Zaman. Again, I'm Gigi Salka. I'm the Workforce Development Officer here at Zaman. Like they said, please jump in if anybody has any questions. It is going to be pretty informal. I'm going to start off with the background about Zaman, who we are, the services that we provide, and then move into the trainings and the eligibility requirements for the trainings and what you can expect during the training. So Zaman is a women's organization. We work with marginalized women and children. We are really here to empower the mom to make a positive change in her life. We really want people to break the cycle of poverty. So everything that we talk about here today, Zaman is on a mission of breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty. And whether it's through our supportive services, our case managers, our trainings, our education is really to uplift the women in our communities and help them make a life change. Brittany, oh, there we go. So the history of Zaman, it was founded in 1996 by Naja Bazi. She is a transcultural nurse. And it was during the Iraqi refugee crisis. She was working as a nurse and she was in charge of doing the cultural acclimation and information for the refugees as they were coming in. One of her jobs was to do home visits. And during one of the home visits, she walks in and she sees a newborn baby that had multiple medical problems, laying in a white laundry basket, still covered in the blankets that they were given at the hospital. Mom and dad were sitting on the floor, and the medication was put in a cooler that they had bought at the gas station and put some ice in it. She couldn't believe what she saw, and she knew that that is not something that could continue, and she wanted to help. So she rallied her friends and family and supported this family with food, clothing, furniture. That story kept repeating itself. And for 10 years, Zaman was out of her basement, her garage, friends and family support. Then in 2004, Zaman became an official NGO. And we had our first physical location in Donate Space on Schaefer Road in Dearborn. It was a dental office that allowed us to use some of their office space. That gave Zaman a physical structure, because before that, we were just meeting at Panera or at people's homes. And that really was the beginning of the transformation into what Zaman is and will continue to be. In 2007, we launched Boost, which is building ongoing opportunities for skills training. That is the education and training part of Zaman. So Zaman does provide a full wraparound services. We follow Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we feel that for a person to be successful, you have to really have a strong foundation in their basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, as they move up the pyramid into self-actualization. So through our social workers, we provide the basic needs. Once the family is stabilized, they move into Boost, which is the education and training. And after that, we help support them in getting employment. In 2016, we moved into our Hope for Humanity Center, which is a 40,500 square foot facility in Inkster. We thought there was no way we'd be able to fill up this whole space, but we actually have. So we have our sewing training, culinary training, we have our social workers, we have our literacy training. We're building out a health clinic. Hopefully they'll start construction on that in January. We have our Good Deeds resale shop. So as you can imagine, we have filled the 40,500 square feet. So what are some opportunities you can partake in here at Zaman? We talked about our client services, which is the case management, where they will help the women with food. We have a client choice food pantry. With clothing through our resale shop, the clients will get vouchers where they can self-select their items, and any other barrier removal, assistance with transportation, childcare, rent, utilities. Although we may not be able to resolve all those for you here, we can at least refer you to agencies and to our partners where they can assist with a lot of those barriers that people may be facing. We talked about our client choice food pantry, where our clients have access to the pantry once a month based on family size. We talked about Boost, which is the education and training. The Good Deeds resale shop, which is open to the public. Anyone is welcome to come and shop, and our clients have vouchers to self-select their items. Our resale shop is all the products in our resale shop are through donations. So if you have donations that you don't really know what organization you want to support, please think of Zaman. We take clothing and housewares, and those are cleaned and prepped and available to our clients. You can either drop them off at Zaman, or you can look up at the on our website, and you can see all the bins around Southeast Michigan. Or we also have 2 trucks where you can call in and they will pick up the items from your home. Zaman also has plots for tots, which is an infant burial assistance. So we have purchased a plot of land in Westland, and that assists families who have lost a young child and assists them with burials. We also have SIPs for Hope, which is an international program in collaboration with the International Medical Corps, and that is to build wells near schools, again, with the mission of supporting women and children, and realizing that in some countries, the women are going to find water, find all of that for their families. So if the well is near a school, then the hope is that children are going to school while mom is supplying the water. And also, Zaman has a lot of volunteer opportunities. So you're welcome to reach out to our volunteer coordinator. We have volunteer opportunities, whether it could be packing food, it could be organizing in good deeds, or it could be something more long-term, like an internship. So we do provide internships. We do collaborate with local universities, and we are approved for students to receive internship credit. So we do get a lot of students who do gap years with Zaman, in addition to, the volunteer opportunities that are more like one-offs, or, food packing or something like that. So who can partake in all of these activities here at Zaman? Again, it is a women's organization, so it's marginalized women. We define marginalized women as, well, there's different programs, and depending whether it's the food assistance or the case management or the education, you will need to start by speaking with our caseworkers and see what opportunities are available to you. I can speak specifically for Boost, which is the educational arm. The only requirement that we have is for the person to be low income, receiving food stamp assistance, or somehow, or maybe if they give me like their tax returns, just something that proves their low income status. Food stamps, Medicaid card, anything like that, that is sufficient. That's all that I really need for Boost. As far as the caseworkers with the food assistance, case manager, barrier resolution, they have different programs and different eligibility requirement, income levels for the services that they have. But basically, it's low income, single women. We also do a lot of immigrants and refugees. So a lot of times when the immigrants or the refugees come, their services are only there for 3 to 6 months. So Zaman will supplement those services, or will continue servicing them after they're exhausted their resettlement packages. All of our trainings, we require that the person be at a 6th grade reading level, just because it is important for them to be able to manage the training. And like I said, for eligibility, we just require proof of food stamps or Medicaid. Again, this is just for Boost, which is the education part, but you can have access to other services at Zaman if you don't meet the 6th grade reading level or any of those. There are other programs as well. So under Boost, we have 4 programs. We have literacy, culinary arts, industrial sewing, and workforce preparation. Literacy is ESL, English as a second language. Anything beyond that, if it's a GED, we partner with our local adult ed partners like Romulus and Dearborn and Southgate Adult Ed. Culinary arts is for you to get training as a kitchen cook. Industrial sewing is training as a sewing machine operator. And then the workforce prep is to prepare people for successful employment. So ESL instruction, that usually occurs twice a week. Currently, we are online. We are hoping to bring people in person starting next fall, but we will continue to have an online component. So we have students from who don't know how to read and write in English, don't know their ABCs, all the way up to, wanting to get their GED. This year, we also started a pre-GED program for ESL students. Those are people who completed their ESL instruction, want to go for GED, but still need some extra assistance. So it's a bridge between ESL and GED. We also have citizenship instruction that is for people who are immigrants and refugees, and it's time for them to sit for a citizenship exam, naturalization exam. So in addition to all the paperwork, they have to take a test about the government and history of the United States. So we help them prepare for that examination. And if someone comes to us where they need GED instruction, like I said, we partner with Romulus Adultet, Dearborn Adultet, Southgate, whichever is most convenient for the client that we're working with. While you are in any of those programs, you do have access to our supportive services through, it's called Beit al-Zahra, that's our client services program. So our clients receive quarterly case management where they're doing goal setting, making sure they're working towards their goals. They have access to the client choice food pantry. They have access to clothing and household goods assistance through our Good Deeds resale shop. There are seasonal drives, back to school supplies, code drives, holiday drives, Thanksgiving turkey drives, all of those. And then the integration support for refugee families. Again, anything that after they've completed or exhausted all their services through the resettlement agencies, Zaman will step in and continue to support those families. And like I said, the Good Deeds retail shop that is open to the public and open to our clients. Now, what you guys are all been waiting for is our 2 apprenticeship trainings. So we have 2 trainings, one in culinary arts and one in industrial sewing. The culinary apprenticeship is a 12-week program, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 9 to 2. So apprenticeships have 2 parts. They have what they call the RTI, the related technical instruction. That is the classroom piece. It's 157 hours, and it incorporates the literacy and workforce prep. The OJT, the on-the-job training, is for somebody who has completed the RTI, they completed the classroom, and now they have to have 1 year of on-the-job training. So Zaman will provide that as well. So the OJT is available to anyone who has completed the RTI successfully. They are eligible to fill out an application and they get invited for an interview. And based on all the applicants, 1 person is selected to be the apprentice for that academic year and to do the on-the-job training. The on-the-job training happens in our culinary kitchen as well as in our Rising Hope Bakery, where we make cookies. So our apprentice works in there and makes cookies. I encourage you to also go online and under the Zaman website and to look at Rising Hope Bakery, because you can buy cookies for private occasions, they ship all over the United States. And this helps, first of all, support Zaman, but it also helps employ our culinary graduates. And our hope is that we would go into wholesale and mass production through our Rising Hope Bakery. What I do want to clarify is that although our culinary apprenticeship, it says here on the slide, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the training component, the culinary training. But we highly encourage people to also enroll in our workforce prep pathway in addition. So workforce prep is integrated into the activities Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we also have a separate class that is purely workforce readiness, and that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays online from 9 to 11. So although the training is Monday, Wednesday, Friday all day, we do also encourage our participants to join the workforce readiness program on Tuesday, Thursday mornings. So what is the eligibility requirements? First of all, like we said, low income women, but because of the nature of the job, the person has to be able to lift 30 pounds. They have to be able to stand for extended periods of time, and they have to be able to commit to the 12-week program. The reason it's 30 pounds, it's because there's a lot of work in the kitchen where you're lifting. So you're lifting a bag of rice, a bag of flour, a big pot full of food or sauces or stews. You need to move that pot from the stove to the counter. So it's important for someone to be able to lift 30 pounds and to be able to stand for an extended period of time, because a lot of it too, when you're standing either doing the dishes at the kitchen sink or you're chopping, the onions or the carrots or whatever it is that's going to go into that meal, or, you're prepping the chicken or the meat, all of those activities are done while you're standing at the kitchen counter. So the culinary program is a little bit physical in that sense that a person has to be able to move comfortably around the kitchen. And because it is a commercial sized kitchen and a commercial training you for a commercial setting, the quantities are larger, right? Where at home, maybe you're cooking in a small pot. Here you're cooking in a big pot because you're feeding 20, 30, 40 people, right? So that's why the pots are bigger, the rice bags are bigger, the flour is bigger, it's all commercial size. Our industrial sewing apprenticeship is called the sewing machine operator. Again, it is 12 weeks. This is Monday through Friday from 9 to 2. The reason this is a little bit more intensive is because it really takes a lot of skill and a lot of time for people to be able to get comfortable with the machine, get comfortable with, it goes really fast. So it just takes time for people to get comfortable using it. Again, the RTI, the related technical instruction, which is the classroom piece, is 158 hours. It does incorporate the literacy and workforce prep activities. Zaman also provides the OJT, which is the on-the-job training. Same model that we use in the culinary arts, where the graduates of the RTI will need to fill out an application. Then they will be offered an interview. And from the application and from the interview, we select one apprentice to be the apprentice for that coming year. Once they're the apprentice, they'll be working in a Zaman sewing factory where we make jerseys with a partner organization, like soccer jerseys, football jerseys, hockey jerseys for one of our partners called DO Apparel. And so that's where the OJT is happening. Eligibility requirements. Also, you need to be able to lift 20 pounds. You need to be able to sit for an extended period of time. And you need to commit for an intensive 12-week program. The ability to lift 20 pounds, the reason for that is the bolts of fabric are very heavy. A lot of times when we are moving the made jerseys, so you're cutting them, you're making them on the table, and you have to put them in the box. The box needs to go on the counter where it gets picked up and sent over to DO Apparel. So there's a lot of, not a lot, but there is some lifting that happens, whether you're carrying the bolts of fabric, carrying the boxes that have the jerseys in them, or carrying the jerseys themselves from the table to the box and the box to the, to the truck. So that's where the lifting comes into place. As far as sitting, obviously you're sitting at a machine. So some people, I know they have a hard time for sitting for extended period of time. So here you are sitting the whole day, working on the machine. So it just has to be someone who, we do have ergonomic chairs and all of those things have been taken into account, but the job does involve a lot of sitting. The workforce prep activities, we discussed that it is integrated into the training, but it can also be a standalone. It is 12 weeks, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9:30 to 11:30. Zaman is very proud of the program that we've developed with regards to workforce prep, because again, staying with the model of a holistic approach, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we feel that for a person to be successful, they need to go through the different stages. So we start off with mental wellness for 4 weeks, healthy lifestyles for 4 weeks, job readiness, and then financial literacy. Mental wellness is really about mindfulness, communication, just really being very mindful of our mental well-being. Healthy lifestyles is about eating right, sleeping right, sitting right, exercise, any of those things that will really keep our body healthy. Job readiness is about setting our job goals, creating a resume, mock interviews, making sure you have the proper clothing for an interview. Financial literacy is now that, our client is ready to go and work. They need to be able to, have a budget, to handle their finances properly so that they can really start moving their family forward. So this is what I have. I tried not to go, enough detail, but not too much. So I'm open for any questions, comments that anybody may have.
Yeah, so we have a question in the chat. It says, if a student is not selected for the apprenticeship, but successfully completes the training program, are there immediate employment opportunities for students?
It all depends. So where we're at Zaman right now is my goal for 2023 is to really build out our employer partners. And I really hope with the help with Brittany and MRS that we can find those employer partners that are friendly to our, students. So if there is an opportunity at Zaman, for example, in culinary, I would say it's highly unlikely because we usually just have one apprentice, unless our Rising Hope Bakery grows and it's wonderful and we love that and we can hire as many people as we can. In the sewing, same thing. We usually have one apprentice, but I currently have 8 seamstresses in there. So as they rotate through, there will be more opportunities at Zaman, but I don't like to promise that because it just depends if there is an opening. But again, we are training people for employment. So my hope is that we really build out our employer partners so that if we don't have openings at Zaman, then we can at least refer them and have good relationships with community partners where they would be hired.
And this is Keisha. I just want to add to Gigi. You do have some employer partners that you have been able to work with in place outside of Zaman. The other thing is that you've been able to connect with advanced training facilities as well. So that also may have partners also. So although this is maybe the entry level start, you have other relationships within the community that will assist those who are at Zaman to move a step up to into advanced industrial, or if they want to expand their skills with culinary. So I just want to make sure that we're talking about all the resources that you have as well.
Yes, just like Keisha said, we have a lot of partners. in culinary, so especially bakeries. So a lot of our clients end up working at one of those bakeries. We're very proud about one of our clients actually decided to continue her education, and she's over at Schoolcraft, getting her bachelor's in culinary arts. So we, assisted in that happening. As far as the seamstresses, so whether they are on site here at Zaman, or we have several employer partners with seams, who are in sewing, or we also have which I didn't talk about, is our strong entrepreneurship program. So I think that might be good for some of the clients that MRS services as well, because the reason we created our entrepreneurship is for our students that do have, whether it's childcare, transportation, language, any of those barriers, where they may not be well equipped to be in a commercial setting, but really wanted to create, income generating opportunities for them. So I should have added that slide on there. So we will also, so let's just say we can't help them here as a man if we don't have an opening. We work with our outside partners, but then also they do have that self-employment opportunity as well.
The other thing too, Gigi, if you can talk about, although you have services, a lot of services for women, and those empowering services, can you also talk about what some of those other opportunities could look like for individuals who may have men? Although the services you have are for women, but you do have opportunity for men to come to Zaman and do some activities. If you can talk a little bit about that and talk about what that could look like in terms of working with MRS.
Yeah, thanks for a reminder, Keisha. Yes, so although Zaman is a women's organization with regards to our training and our supportive services and our case management, we welcome men into the building all the time. There are opportunities to volunteer, so they will work through our volunteer coordinator, and there's multiple volunteer opportunities, whether it's in the warehouse, in the sewing, in culinary, as internships. We also there's opportunities for hire. Our warehouse staff is usually men. I mean, we have 2 truck drivers, 1 warehouse manager, and a facilities coordinator. I think they were looking for a custodian. So all those positions are usually men. So yes, don't feel that it's limited. The training and the support services is to uplift the women. But of course, there are, many men in our building that we can't live without. So.
Thank you, Gigi. And you, in terms of those services or employment for men, there are also some work opportunities. And so if you are an individual who may be looking at, I'm not quite sure this might be a good fit for me, maybe this might be a great opportunity to partner with Zaman to see if we can carve out something to see if this is a good fit for this individual. Also, making sure that you're working with Brittany to help outline, because she is a single point of contact, also myself, to help make sure that we are able to assist you through that process.
For sure. And the one thing I'd like to say as well is that Zaman will personalize as much as possible the needs of that individual, right? If we can work within certain hours that they need to work, or if they need certain accommodations, if we'll see what we have available. And if we need to make some modifications, to make that person more comfortable, as long as it's within our ability to do so, we'll be more than happy to accommodate whatever the needs are.
Awesome. And as you guys heard, there are employment opportunities here. So, that's another opportunity for direct placement, making sure that this is a business partner, an awesome business partner that we've had. Gigi and I have been working together almost 2 years now, right, Gigi?
Yeah.
And we've done some great things together. But this is also a business partner that needs talent. And you heard that today. So please make sure you're reviewing your resumes, you're reviewing your customers, and making sure that we're able to provide some talent for them.
Yeah, we do, like you were saying, we do offer community service. We do offer, volunteer, like we'll try to tailor it to whatever the client needs.
So with the year winding down, Gigi, have some of your needs changed a little bit?
Well, we are gearing up. So our current cohorts are graduating in December. So we're gearing up for our winter cohort. Industrial sewing seems to be a big hit. So we already have a waiting list for that. But again, we're open to everybody applying, and we're open to, giving everybody a chance, because you just don't know how things change and people's lives change, and they just can't commit when January comes, right? So please do not let that deter you from making recommendations. Our culinary cohort is pretty open right now. I mean, I think I have a few spots left in there, so that shouldn't be a problem. And again, like I said, we have just the workforce prep. If people just want that as a standalone, that starts in January as well. All that information will be through Rania, that you'll have her information on the next slide, and she'll be able to guide you to whatever programs there may be. But like I said, for 2023, I just ask everybody's help to really build up those employer partners, because we realize although we'd love to have everybody hired here at Zaman, that's just not possible. So we'd love to really outreach.
So, and can you talk a little bit about what the application process looked like for each of the different programs, please?
The application for both programs is very similar. What we're looking for is, obviously you've gone through our programs, so we know your your technical skill level. The reason we like to do the RTI and the OJT in-house is because when they're with us for 12 weeks, they've gotten to know us, we've gotten to know them. If there's any accommodations that they need, we've already tried to make those accommodations for them within those 12-week period. They've already decided that whether they're comfortable here and they want to apply. So, I mean, that's kind of a good exposure, I guess, from the client perspective and from the Zaman perspective. So when we do the application, it is really a formality, because we've really grown to know that person. So I really highly encourage that if they do want to apply, that to treat the RTI almost like an interview, like show up on time, do your work, do your best, don't let things slide. If you're having trouble, make sure you ask. We're here to help you. Like, we take all of these things into consideration. But again, it's really hard, because sometimes you have a lot of wonderful candidates and you just have to choose one. And that's the hard part. And when it comes to that, then we really take into account multiple factors. Technical ability is really important, right? So you could have somebody who is extremely dedicated, shows up on time, really wants to learn, but technically they just haven't captured the skill. That could be challenging. Or the other way too, like I have people that come in and they're extremely technically capable, but maybe they're always late, or maybe they missed a lot, or maybe they weren't a good communicator with their classmates and there were issues, so all of those things are taken into account, because at the end of the day, whether you're hired here as Zaman or you're hired someplace else, those, the technical skills are important, but those soft skills are so important. And the one thing that we really try to strive for as Zaman is just really the corporate culture of just everybody being welcoming, everybody being kind, everybody, helping everybody else. So that's just really important in making that decision too.
I thank you for talking about those soft skills, because often, especially with working with some of our partners, sometimes we do not get that feedback about, hey, I did this referral to you, and yet I'm not getting any feedback regarding how are their soft skills? How are they doing in the training? So that's something that with this partnership, I have noticed that we've been able to get some information and some some feedback about some of those referrals that Brittany have received from you guys, so that one, she's making sure that she's able to support that individual, because if she doesn't know, she can't support. And vice versa. If there are supports that you guys might need to make sure that you're supporting the individual while they're in the training. So greatly appreciate the communication and the support that Zaman has been able to provide with those referrals. Because I think it's important for this group to know not only is Zaman asking us for referrals for talent, but they have also referred to MRS as well. So they've been able to recognize those possible candidates that where MRS could be a great benefit if they were customers with MRS. So thank you again on that front as well.
Of course. And what I would like to do, we talked about this, and I welcome the opportunity as we have our new cohort, and we did this earlier too, is I invite MRS to come and speak to our cohorts too, right? So really developing those. So maybe we'll reach out in January, you guys, maybe Brittany can come out for a little bit, so any way that we can kind of make that bridge, make that connection, make it easier, for the client to partake in your services. And same thing with MRS. If you want to bring somebody, and I know someone asked me this earlier, can they just come and tour? Yes, maybe they're not sure if this is what they want or not. We'll be more than happy to host you. Come, let your client or customer, walk through the building, see if they feel comfortable, because I think that's a lot of it. The reason people come to Zaman is because they feel comfortable. And we want to, and that's the first step, right? So.
And the cookies are really good.
And the cookie, we'll make sure everybody that comes on a tour gets a cookie. So they know it's always extra cookies ready. I'm like, oh, Gigi, you got people looking for your tour. Yep, I need a cookie.
Yes.
You tried to give me like 5 cookies last time I was there. So
because you're supposed to be sharing and marketing and spreading the joy.
yes, yes. We do have one more question in the chat. It says, please define the range of low income as a criteria for Zaman referrals. I know you touched on it a little bit, but a little clarification on that.
Yep. So if we're talking about training, the only requirement I have is food stamps or Medicaid. Show me your food stamp letter or a Medicaid letter or Medicaid card. That's the only thing that you need for training. For other support services through our social workers, they have different income limits and different criteria for the different services that they get. But let's say somebody comes in through the training and they're approved for the training, then I know they will have access to our client choice food pantry, and they will have access to quarterly case management. Anything above that, let's say rent assistance or help to fix their car or any of those other services, those, like the case managers make those determinations, and they have different programs and eligibility requirements for all of those things. But as far as the training, the only thing I need is food stamps or Medicaid. And I know the one person that we got through MRS, actually, transportation was an issue. So MRS was able to provide the door-to-door transportation for her, and that worked out really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I'm seeing no other questions at the moment. I did want to just quickly show folks the Raising
thanks,
Bakery. So this is on their main website. You can see the cookies, but also if you would like to shop wholesale or for some holiday cookies, please do that. But then also I encourage folks to just explore their website overall. A lot of the information that Gigi talked about today, you will find here, as well as the contact information, their address, more information about donating. This is the season definitely for donating. So I just wanted to make sure that folks are aware of the website, which is zamaninternational.org. And again, the recording of this presentation, as well as information about the programs and websites and contact information, will be shared with MRS counselors. The last slide we have is just a thank you for your time and attention. But for those out there, as we said, Rania is the point of contact for the program questions or details that you may need. Their information is listed there. So there are 2 phone numbers as well as an email. This information again will be emailed to the MRS counselor so they can share that with any interested customers. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Anything else you'd like to say, Gigi, at this time?
No, thank you so much. And I'm really excited as we grow our partnership and just really help the people in our community in the best that we can. And we'll build it together. Like I said, we're flexible. We'll try our best and it'll be great.
Awesome. All right. Anything you'd like to share, Keisha, before we close?
Nope, all said. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all for attending.